Greetings, co-laborers in the harvest. It is quite astonishing that we work with God, but God works without us. Fortunately, He works within us as well. As the Apostle Paul says in Colossians 1:29, we strive with all the energy that He works inside us. This question is from the great land of Lebanon. You notice I say great land for every land, because I come from the second greatest land in the world, and your land is the greatest land in the world, okay? This is from Lebanon. I'm more enthusiastic to get into pastoral ministry, in particular, in addition to theological teaching that I'm doing now, but my wife is not as prompted as I. She might accept part-time pastoral ministry, but not a full-time one. Nevertheless, she's completely convinced that our future is in ministry and not outside. I've turned away so far 4 invitations for full pastoral ministry in Lebanon and outside. If God calls a minister, then He would call his wife as well. I'm kind of stuck in a corner. If you're in my shoes, then what do? I am glad I'm not in your shoes, but I've got some good news for you. First of all, your wife is willing to be in ministry. I know many wives who are not willing to be in vocational ministry. For many reasons. One, because of economic situation. Second, the divided attention, because the ministry does become the second wife, as it were. And thirdly, she's not able to trust you. But more, she'll have to learn to trust God in the situation and follow you. So I would like you both to start praying together. My father was called into the ministry at a very ripe age, took a 75% cut in his salary with his wife and 4 kids. And my grandfather called my father a fool for making this decision. In fact, my grandfather asked my father, who's going to look after your wife and 4 kids next month? And my dad had a classic answer. My dad said to his father, the same one who's looked after you, Father, for all these years will be the same one who will look after me. A couple of months before he died, my grandfather called my father and said, son, you did the right thing. So I want you to know that God wants to watch out for you and your wife and your kids. He does not want your marriage to be broken. You can always get another ministry. He does not want you to get another wife. So please get that clear. And if your wife is watching this, I'd like to say something to you as well. I get this from 1 Peter 3, where Abraham and Sarah are used as examples, and Sarah especially, inviting believing women today to be daughters of Sarah, who called Abraham Lord. I remember when I first read that passage, I went and told my wife that this is how Sarah addressed her husband, and my wife immediately said, yes, Lord. And it hit me deep and hard that I did not want her to call me Lord, because I didn't want to take that kind of a responsibility for my wife and kids. Only the Lord can do that. So, before being distracted whether your wife should call you Lord, I want you, wife, listen to what it says. I don't think Sarah was consulted when Abraham had to sacrifice Isaac. He just decided to obey God. And sometimes you'll have to follow your husband into obedience of God, even though you don't understand everything or where the future is going. And then Sarah was called to Abraham. So I want you to think about this, Pastor. As long as your wife is called to you, God will take responsibility for your wife to be called to you and your labor. So wife, if you don't know where your husband's going, be called to him. And I think you are, because you want to be in the ministry. And husband, you take steps and risks of faith, pray together, trust God. And as your wife gains confidence in both Christ as well as in you, she will follow you. Her fears are real and practical. You've got to meet them. But remember, you can't meet your wife's needs anyway, and your kids' needs. So let her learn to grow and trust in God as you follow Him in faith. I'm grateful for the questions that you've sent. The usual questions of Bible and theology, I think you can go to many sources to find the answers. are the ones which need a bit of wisdom and experience and discernment, are the ones I'm attempting to answer. And I hope that you'll keep sending us these questions. It's better for us to be able to process them, prepare for them, and then present them. And actually, we'd love to see your face more than you would like to see mine. Thank you for being my friend.